Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Consent agenda, any additions? Chrissy?
None.
Ernie?
I'll just give you a little update on the bike path in Clark River.
Karen?
No.
I forgot, do we have Amy on?
She is not.
Okay. We have, everybody reviewed the minutes and the bills, we have a motion to approve.
So move.
There's a second,
I'll second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Employee time. Well, you're on for later,
Okay, I'll wait.
you got a designated spot. We heard the door open down there, maybe we'll see if somebody comes up.
Oh, this was probably my drawer shutting here.
Hmm?
It's probably my drawer shutting here, that you heard.
Application for the Walsh County Gun Club, we'll move on to that.
Okay, so Tom, yeah, Tom brought this in, needs to go to you guys. I did send a copy of it. He's here in case you guys have any questions on their intent of it, I guess.
This is something we do every year, isn't it? Basically.
We've never done that.
No, I don't
So
think.
it's brand new, right?
Yes, it's brand new.
Oh, okay.
So you just like start serving beer out there?
Well, it's there's clubhouse and very similar to both golf courses in the county. Supper, the kitchen and supper afterwards.
Okay, I guess my question is though, they had circled on here beer under July. So I didn't know if you were doing just beer or liquor and wine,
It'll just be beer.
just beer, okay.
And they're gonna watch so no minors get sued?
Yep.
That's my main concern, cause there's a
As
lot.
far as I understand, it's just there's state legal laws that we have to follow.
Yep.
And then this is just getting the approval for that.
Karen, you want to see it?
No,
In the packet, yeah.
I saw it already, so.
I'll make a motion, we approve it.
Here we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second,
All those in favor, Karen,
Yes.
Christie,
yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Myself, yes, motion carried. All right, we'll move on to Katie.
Yeah,
Thanks, Tom.
we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Morning, Katie.
Hi, how are you guys? Good. Well, I was hoping Leslie would have been here because she knows more of what the expectations are or whatnot, but, I was unable to be at the last commission meeting because I was chaperoning the Extension Youth Conference, but
Well, can I just, was she coming at 9:30 because we're bumping you ahead, so were you planning on her being here?
yeah, I was.
Oh, then
Then
I
we can
can
wait till
Okay,
9:30,
okay,
yeah.
sounds
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, that, Denny, that's your.
No, that's fine, yep.
Okay.
That's fine.
Sounds good, thank you.
Got your thumbs ready?
Yeah,
You know, we could
We
talk a
can go
little,
on, oh,
little bit on, our budget meetings. If there's any concerns, if I'm gonna be up in the air on some of those, that one day, just in case. And the only reason is I've got people calling me, cause I sold some equipment and I gotta be there and load it, so. As of now, I don't, but if I do, I'm gonna try and skip them days, but if I have to miss one, it'll be just one of those early ones, I'll set it up. Cause these guys call one day, they're coming, and then they call back and then, no, I'm coming tomorrow, and
so we have July 17th and 18th set up for budget meetings?
Yeah, and I have not heard back from most of the department heads.
most.
Yeah, most of them. I sent another email on Monday, so I'm hoping today I'll hear more.
so the 18th is, are we having something before the meeting and then after?
After,
After,
after the meeting, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
17th will be just all day if we need it.
Right,
Okay, I just want
Yeah.
to refresh myself.
I almost feel like if we don't start hearing back from department heads, we need to just schedule them.
yeah, and that's what I did say. I did
Did you?
say that,
Okay,
because I would prefer them to tell me what worked, but so far I have two that have no preference, and then 3 of them, July 18th worked because they were out on the 17th, so,
So you have 5, right?
yep, but they're the quick ones,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
so.
Your biggest concern is the highway and the jail.
Yep,
Those are the
and,
biggest ones.
and I think they were waiting on the mill, the estimated mill
Yep.
levy, so I sent that on Monday as well, because we got that from Park River, so.
Do you know how much that is? Got to be?
The complete mill? No, I do not have it in front of me. I know that the TIF was like $155.43, I believe I subtracted. I could run and get that.
I have the email here.
Oh, you do? Okay, perfect, thank you.
Estimated bill value is $64,274.26 per mill.
Okay.
Last year.
62 something, was it last year?
You just go up, I got
I can't remember very much.
Was it 61,185? Doesn't have a year on it.
Yeah, it is.
61,185.
That's almost $3,000 a mill.
No, that's what Ed said at the last meeting.
That's a nice find.
So under 60 mils for general. 180.
180,000. Pay some wages. And the police and whatever.
It'll help with the cost of living and the stuff.
The only thing that scares me is when you see that evaluation go like that and everything else, and then just so our buddies up at the state don't wanna freeze everything on us. That's our only way of these small town, even the ambulance and stuff generating their income. School districts.
Morning, Leslie.
Good morning.
You guys wanna step up and,
Sure.
Smell the roses?
yeah,
We're on the agenda at 9:30, but I think it's okay if we get started.
Yes.
Okay, I just wanna make sure it's okay. So I kind of heard from Katie that you guys talked about department head, and she was named interim department head at the last meeting. I'm just here to advocate for her to become the department head permanently. In your packet, I had a little information about how NDSU extension works with naming someone in the office as, we use the word county coordinator, but we consider it a leadership position. We would like both extension agents in the office to have that ability to have that leadership. So my plan is to have Katie in this position for 3 to 5 years. Pending that the other person that we hire stays and, is at a capacity where they could also do it, and we would trade back and forth through the years. So that is why I'm here today. If you guys would be willing to name her as
absolutely.
department head, I would love that.
I'm sure Katie don't want to.
I don't know who else I can
Have you got any good applicants coming?
No.
No.
We have 0 applicants currently. We ran a search and there was no applicants I was willing to screen through. And I pulled it from our website and we're putting it back on this week to run again. I'm hoping that will refresh it in like Indeed.com and some of these third-party vendors, maybe for a job service. So people know, yes, we're looking for a candidate, the time hasn't passed. I will say that overall, we have several positions open in the state, and it is so hard to find applicants right now for positions, both on FCW, like Katie's position, and the A&R side. The biggest thing would be localness has really been the driver for our last few hires. So if you guys know anyone who'd like to come to Extension that's got roots to this area, please do some recruiting for me. Would love that. But but we have it up and, I'm hopeful that we'll find someone, but we want to find the right person.
Exactly, take your time and get the right one.
Yeah.
Karen?
Mr. Chairman, I did read through the whole thing, so, for me. And I feel like Katie is very capable of, handling all the situations. She's proved her, capability of what she's done with us so far. So I would make a motion that we approve Katie as department head for the extension.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion?
Well, I'd just like to say that I hope you didn't take it wrong, Katie, that we did interim department head. Honestly, we didn't think we'd have I guess I didn't think we had the authority to determine that you were the department head. I thought that was NDSU. I thought NDSU hired you guys and assigned your titles to you. So, but it's not apparently.
Well, we do assign them, yes, as county coordinators, that's kind of the position we use. But, maybe I should have emailed the auditor and said, Katie's gonna do this permanently. Each county has a little different flavor on culture, and so I'm learning you guys are very formal and maybe a little cautious. So that's good to know too.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
And we didn't wanna step on any toes.
Yeah, we didn't want to step on your guys' toes, the
Yeah.
hiring
Which I
authority,
appreciate that too.
so.
We've had a pretty good relationship with you guys and,
Yeah.
we wanna keep going.
Right. I was just gonna say, it came up because we have to switch over the name on the credit card for office
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
And so I was like, if it says interim, are they gonna kick that back?
Mhm.
Is it, and I thought, is this just a, miscommunication or something? And it
Mhm.
just unfortunately, the minutes or the meeting, the recording was very difficult to hear. So then I called Leslie and I said, this is what's going on and I don't know. So I appreciate her support to be here and your receptiveness to everything.
Karen?
Mr. Chairman, I just appreciate that we got all that information and that it did work out this way. To read all that and,
Yeah.
I mean, for her to be the coordinator, it's a big job.
It is, we don't pay her extra for that, so.
But it is a big job on there and I'm glad that we, I learned what it all involved.
Right, it helps.
I mean, I knew
clarify.
that you would be doing it all, but.
Right. Okay, I'm glad that helped.
Any further discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. Karen,
Yes.
Christie,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
myself, yes.
I have one request. If you have any language or expectations for your department heads within the courthouse staff, if you would be able to share that with me so that I'm meeting your expectations, I would appreciate that, just so that I'm making sure every base is covered and we're doing things proactively instead of reactively. I appreciate that very much.
Just keep smiling and painting.
Hope we're done with that for a while.
I don't know if you know it, Christie, Katie did a lot of work upgrading and painting that place and put her heart into that building.
Katie and your mother?
Yeah, I couldn't, yeah.
And
Was there was some discussion about a new sign going on?
it's up.
It's up. Okay.
Yeah, they were able to fit it into the existing frame.
Okay, great.
Initially ordered was a two-sided metal sign, and the metal was really thin and flimsy, and so it was kind of nice. We had this heavy duty corrugated plastic sign. So we just had to order a new sign. So Leslie's budget helped pay for that secondary sign. So it's sandwiched right on top of what was there before. And so being it's yellow and green, it catches people's attention and we've gotten some flack, you moved the sign to the sign didn't move. It just got updated. So kind of comical, but.
It's
Yeah.
been there how many years and? people
I
still
drove by
don't
it
know?
I've lived here for 13 years and driven by it. I noticed it because I knew where it was, but we'd have people that drove by it every day on their way to school and they're like, where's your office? I'm like, the brick building right by Tellefson's.
We had people stopping in the FSA all the time looking for the NDSU office.
Yeah, so
Their
now it's,
extension office. Extension.
yeah, so the branding is very powerful. So
Yeah, it is.
I'm happy that we're up to the current standard.
Great, yeah.
And we have one sign left to put up. We're just waiting for the highway department to find time. Jason didn't want it attached to the building, so they're gonna put some towels bar in so that we can mount another sign closer to the exact building.
Oh, sure.
Because it's just really hard. It's the brown gray,
Yeah.
not enough contrast to read Walsh County Cooperative Extension. So we're hoping that will help as well.
Great.
So, but thank you for the support.
Everything going good for you?
Yeah, it's just super busy right now, and I don't know why. It's just, we run all day long, and I could work 10 hours a day and not even come close to getting through my daily to-do list, so. But that's a good problem to have.
And I heard good things about Sarah in her office. Her new support staff. So
things are going
What
well.
was her last name again?
Sarah Arndt.
Arndt?
Oh, sure, yeah. yeah.
Yeah, she was the business manager for HMR out of the Park River branch.
Oh,
Her customer service skills are exceptional.
good.
And she's learning very quickly with our fair entry and 4-H online system. So with the state fair, all of the state fair entry, it's a little labor intensive because we have a late fair. And this year they redid all of the project numbers. So we're having to find the new equivalents for these things, and so it's taking more time, and she's just taken that on. I trust her to do everything with it, and she's doing a great job. Good. And happy and eager to learn.
Good. Great.
Thank you so
So,
much.
so we don't miss Brad?
We just, Brad is still popping in the office.
I figured he would be, yeah.
Well, he's in charge of the soil dirt
He
thing.
does the land
Yeah,
dredging, so
yeah.
he's in there, he
Well, I
does
mean,
mark out.
the thing on the 12th.
Oh, yes, he's helping with that.
Yeah.
And I think our office is gonna be the backup location in this increment.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's at
I
home.
talked to him the other day, I think he still likes coming in.
yeah, and he likes Sarah. With Sue not planning to return to help with the fair preparations, he's like, oh, this is good. Sue can relax, know that it's taken care of, you've got what you need.
Yep.
So it's been a really good fit.
Good.
So,
Good.
thank
Good
you
to
for-
hear.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
You can leave that one.
I think we should give Jason a call and see if we can help him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that Chris Mosley as well.
That quick clean?
Yeah.
No, the auditor's report, but that's gonna take 2 minutes.
Oh, this is coming in, was she? Chris Moore? No, okay. Yeah, we'll move on to the auditor support.
Okay, so I can present on that. So with Christie being new, we've tried working with other auditors, we've tried a few different things, right? And Chris has actually come in a few times to help Christie out, because there's nothing like the person that was in the office to help them all, to show you where things are, reports, what to do, that type of thing. And in the end, Christie and I visited, and she felt the most support she got, the best, was coming directly from Chris. So what we'd like to propose is to, and I visited with Chris and she is willing to do this. We'd like to propose having Chris come in up to 8 hours per week. May not always be 8 hours, but it would be up to 8 hours per week. Just as, you know, to assist Christie and Angie in the transition. You know, throughout the year, there's gonna be many new things, you know, we've got the budget coming now and different things. So she has agreed to. So I guess I'm just looking for your guys' support to see if you're on board with it. Like I said, up to 8 hours a week, she would help them. And we'd like to bring her back at the rate of pay that she left at, because I feel we're using her consulting services, so we can't undercut her pay, you know, obviously. That rate of pay was $39.15. I feel we should have money in the budget for it, because we are not paying that third employee in the auditor's office either. So I was just looking to see what you guys, how you felt about it.
Would this be considered like contract labor, or would we have to be paying all the other things that go along with?
No benefits, it would be only
Straight.
Straight. Right, and she has to be careful too, she can't work too many hours because it would affect her retirement. So she has to be careful of the amount of hours she works. So 1 week it might be 8 hours, 1 week it might be 4. You know, it just depends on what they need. And Christie, maybe you have some input?
Yes, and it all depends on her. She's retired, so we're gonna go around her schedule. So any free afternoon or a full day that she is willing to come in. So there might be weeks where she is busy and she can't come in. So it's just gonna be,
You coordinate the times then?
yes. I would go around what worked best for her so that I could take advantage of it. Yes, she has been a huge help.
Make your little list, like what if?
Yeah. I have a Chris stack so that when she comes in, there's no waiting around. I know exactly what I need to ask her, so.
Yeah, I think it's good.
And one other thing I guess I should add is I would like to make it retroactive. She has been in to help Christie a few times. I feel that we should be paying her for her assistance there. We did with Sandra, we paid Sandra to come in and help, so it's only fair that we paid Chris as well. So,
All right, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Now we'll call for the vote. Christie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Frank? Yes. Myself, yes. Motion carried.
I texted Jason, telling him that we're ready for yes.
Well, and just kind of on that note, I just want to make a comment, to Christie, thank you. I've heard from several employees in the courthouse what an outstanding job you and Angie are doing on taking over the auditor's office without, you know, Chris and Sandra, with all the experience walking out the door and you guys being brand new, I've heard very impressive things, so, you know, we appreciate it.
Good to hear, yes, no, Angie and I think we'll make a really good team.
Yeah.
Looking forward to once we know what we're doing, I think we'll do really well.
You'll know by the end of 4 years.
Yeah, exactly,
Just kidding.
exactly, no.
We'll ask you after budget time if you wanna change your mind.
Yeah, see, I like numbers, so I think,
I think you'll do it.
I don't know what I'm going into, but as of right now, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy it.
Every year budgets, I've been there a long time, and it seems like every year we get a glitch somewhere or something, or it's just different every year, but we get through it.
Well, I told all the department heads that they can do what they want this year, because I won't know any different. So come next year when I know something, they're gonna have the hammer down, so.
This is their freebie year.
Yeah, exactly.
I know,
They can try to get away with whatever they feel they can, because I won't know any different.
we got to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Morning, Jason.
Morning.
Appreciate you coming in early.
Yeah, no problem. I just, my printer, I got a couple of things I got after I sent the packets up, the agenda information off, so.
I didn't even miss you all weekend. No phone calls, those were nice.
Yeah, I wasn't even here this weekend, so I ran away to hide.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta get out of here once in a while.
What was this for? Miscellaneous engineering.
That's for just things that come up like bridges, where I need KLJ to give us, a little bit more background as to how we can make a repair, what we can do to get it fixed. Make sure that we're bringing it up to as much code as possible. Then we have to do, hydraulic analysis on culvert sizing and things like that. It's just one of those, it's nice to have.
But do they track their time? I mean,
Yeah.
this is just kind of an
It's,
open-ended deal right now.
yeah, if they track their time and it's not to exceed that.
Not to exceed this long.
Yeah. Yeah. Wade's actually on his way in, so if you have more questions on that, you can answer some of those too. So I was informed you guys were running early, so I called him and asked if he could be here at 9:30, he's gonna try. So, a little bit earlier than that. But we can start with some other things. On the agenda while we wait for him. The first one I have is the County Road 19 update. That chip and seal project is all wrapped up. The only thing remaining for them to do is take down their traffic signs. And that project to be finished. They have some more paperwork they have to do too. So we'll have some billing for that one to come in. They finished it in basically 24 hours from the time that they started to the time they finished for their chip seal project on that portion and the bog seal. So they had everything wrapped in under a week. For their striping, it took a little bit longer because the day that they were supposed to stripe, we were blowing at 70-mile-an-hour winds, and I was very happy they did not try and paint that day. We didn't need it on everyone's vehicles as they drove through the area.
Yeah.
But we didn't need those complaints, and the company is smart enough that they didn't want to have to pay for that stuff either, so.
I drove the one from Arlock East, it's pretty nice.
How many miles was this again, Jason, about?
It was what is it, 13 or 11 or 13 miles? 6, 9, 10, 14 miles. 14 miles, so it went from Forest River to interstate, basically, so. I've driven it a couple of times just to see how things were going on it and finalized, and I'm very happy with what we have there. So it looks like it's a brand new road, it feels like it when you drive it, which is what it's supposed to do, so. Now hopefully we can get it scheduled where in 7 years, we're back there doing the same type of things, we can keep it alive. So next year it will be the number one on our list, crack seal. Because being in this condition, I need to keep it that way. So the cracks, when we get on it right away, should help us keep that water from being in the base and give it more longevity, what we look for, so.
When do we chip seal it?
Should be every
2-3
7
years?
years.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, every 7 years is the optimum time. Some say 10. It depends on traffic and the wear and different things, but 7 to 10 years is the window for a chip seal.
Imagine that's a pretty heavily used during beet harvest too.
Oh, yes. Probably more from Forest River to the beat dump there. There's a lot of trucks coming from that area.
Yeah,
And there's still some coming from the east, but the heavier stuff is to the west.
well, and then the pits, you see a lot of traffic.
Yeah, gravel pits.
Instead of just taking 15, they'll take 19 as well, so it's, they get beat.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a lot of farmers aren't gonna like to hear me say this, but I think we need our truck regulatory to be a little more on top of some of these weights.
Yep.
When I look at these bridges just getting crushed,
Yeah, the weight and the speed.
it's like,
Yeah, it's hopefully with this new permit system, it'll help us a little bit too. We'll add an overweight permit that we didn't do before. I was talking to Ron about it and nothing else. It's nice for the sheriff's department to know that someone's coming with something like that. It's not an expensive permit, and from the times we've talked, it's really not gonna be one that's used that much. I think I've gotten 5 phone calls overweight that we don't, unless it's an overweight, we don't do anything about it.
I think not only the farmers, but I think our contractors in the county are pretty good, but the ones that come out of the county, we found out that, you know, sometimes they slip in here and they're overweight and everything else, so, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a constant battle of what infrastructure is built for Model Ts and single axle trucks, and you don't see them.
I mean, we just can't keep up.
No, it's, it's, the projects have gotten to be to the point where they're so expensive too. I mean, a simple, overlay is, couple $100,000, $300,000, $350,000 a mile now. You still get a mile paved for that. Now you're looking at over $1 million to pave a mile. For new road construction. So it's just, the costs keep climbing, and it kind of takes a toll on everything else. It just proves how much preventive maintenance needs to be done, so.
Yeah.
So 19 will be on the we'll see their asking crack seal next year. We did see a couple of small cracks this year that were forming on it, but we didn't crack seal it, because when you crack seal right before the oil and the chip seal, it actually will melt the rubber that you put in, and you raise the bumps that you'll rip them off. So you want to do it a year before, a full year before, or afterwards. So we just decided we'd wait until next year and did it, and then you really don't feel it when you drive it, so it should be good on that stretch. Another update for you on county roads, on county road number 9, they're looking at starting that mill and overlay next week. So that'll be on number 9 between Edinburgh and Hoople, between 32 and 18. So Mail Construction's got that contract. They had a couple more minor paperwork things that they had to get in, but I'm not really worried about those type of things, so they'll be able to get in and get that one done in a matter of a couple of weeks. So all of our big road construction projects should be done before harvest. So, the miles, and that's that $3.1 million for our prairie dog. So our prairie dog funding really came through to us because our two paving projects really this year were paved from the prairie dog. Without that, they wouldn't have happened, especially the mill and overlay. We wouldn't have been able to afford that. We would have had to try and figure out something for the chip seal, but knowing we had the prairie dog, that was made my life a lot easier, so we can try and get some other things accomplished too. They just got another order of mastic that was delivered today, so we can go and do more projects like that. Another semi-load of that product was delivered this morning, so.
Where are you doing that? Where are you using that at?
The mastic we've used on 15 from 32 towards Voss. That's where we've been using that. And we're looking at making a larger box so that we can get more of a smooth transition out of it. Some of our cracks and the depressions are bigger than the box that we have built right now. But that process is going rather smooth and a lot faster. I was talking with the guys and say we might need to, on some of these cracks where we're crack filling it, if they're on that boundary size for the size, we might just need to mastic the big ones and just rumble machines across it to escape it and mastic the other stuff, so we can speed up the process of what we're doing. And the only way we can kind of get some stuff, we're looking at doing some asphalt level, blade level patches here this fall and summer yet. Probably starting in the next couple of weeks. Those just a couple of spots where we didn't dig outs last year on number 9, where we had soft spots in the road, and primary spots, and probably some spots on number 12, north of number 9, where it's alligated and the parts of the road are falling out. Those would be the main spots we had, plus other spots too, but those would be the biggest concentrations I think people would be worried about for that blade patching. Got a call in to base 1 to bring them and talk to them on site with the road between Park River and Fortville, so we can try and get some answers as to what we missed on that one. With the scheduling and things just didn't work out for us to get it done yet, but we're in communication so we can try and see what's going on.
And who's that one, did you say?
Base 1,
Yeah, is that?
they're the contractors that supplied the treatment that was brought down on that road. So.
Were you ever able to, check what was done on those curves or find out any
They had
information?
armor coats done on that, and then they used a mill work on that, from what I've seen. So I still need to, get a better, from talking to the guys, those are the things that they said that they used on the curves. So if we could just do a double armor coats or something like that on top of it, where it's gonna set, that would be good. But if we have the soft spots underneath it, it's just gonna break up. So we might have to do a combination where that first 2 miles that goes east-west, dig them up and put more tile underneath it, just to try and get it to firm up. I know where we added the culvert on County Road 1, so that water is not sitting in the ditch. It really made a difference. I mean, just in the 9 months that it's been in place, getting that water out of that so it doesn't saturate really has helped.
So am I understanding this right? You're saying that we could possibly add these armor coats onto 12B, like they did on the curves? So you're gonna work with base 1 on that?
Yeah, base 1 is, want to see with them if there's any way we can fix their product, if there's something that we're missing on the blading and what we're doing on it,
Mhm,
to make sure we're doing our portion right.
mhm.
Because I know that out in Stark County and Dickinson, for instance, they've ripped up that product out of the ground and moved it 3 times. And it's worked where it's solidified up and they haven't had any issues, but it does not sound like we have had, well, I know we haven't had the same results as what they've had out there.
Mhm.
So, but they've taken the gravel, taken it up, put it in a new place, wet it down and put it back down, and it's acted just like it's supposed to, where it basically turns into a pavement. And we're not having the same results here, so I need to get them up here and we'll get something addressed for that, or after the armor coat. It's a double armor coat. You know, you're kind of looking at your chip seal project, so $500,000 for 14 miles.
500,000 for 14 miles?
Yeah, that's what we just paid. 550.
Honestly, I think it'd be money well spent. That's
Yeah.
a dangerous,
Yep.
dangerous road and we
Right.
need to do something about it. So if we could do it for 500,000, I say let's try to find the money.
That'll give us a single dose anyways. But for 515, so we'll have to take a look and see some projects on those. Wade got here just in time for the update on County Road number 9 bridge. That moved to 3 tons last week. I've asked Wade, as soon as we got those calls, to try and see if there's anything we could do to speed up processes, being that is a main artery road for harvest. And just harvest with the sugar beet trucks and just general with the amount of truck traffic that's on it. So far, it's not looking good for having a solution by fall. I am on the agenda for the water board next week when they meet to discuss it with them because that bridge does go over a drain.
Can you just, I was writing notes. Can you
Yeah.
tell me where this bridge was?
It's
again?
on number 9,
Alright.
just east of number 4 from Cashel. So it's actually right on the Salt Lake, right here. So it's right at that main intersection and it's down to 3 ton. 3 ton doesn't work for us, especially there.
So that's this morning when we talked about going out and look at the roads on 4, that's in conjunction, because they can't use that, they're gonna take that number 4 road. And that's just about as bad as the Fordville road, when you talk about soft and icky.
Yeah.
So we got an issue.
Yeah, because number 4 is basically, with that, if we don't have that for this fall, that traffic's gonna go down that basically 5 miles of gravel, that's not very great right now. And that road is gonna almost have to be a rebuild afterwards for the amount of traffic on it.
Tom McCann was in this morning, he said they're gonna probably take the township road too, and then get that, and they'll wreck that one, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot of area that might get a lot of abuse out there.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say abuse, but just use.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna get a lot more than it normally sees,
Yep.
just because of reroutes. So it's going to be a problem for us.
Have you had time to contact those landowners on that ditching there?
No, I'll call Briggy's and talk to them about doing that ditching and.
See if we can work with them to get it done.
They aren't gonna put another bridge in, are they? I mean, they'll probably do like a big culvert or 2 big culverts.
We said, the initial size is a 9-foot culverts.
Yeah,
Remember?
something like that, yeah. That was just the preliminary stuff. We didn't have any, hard survey or anything yet. We were just trying to run some preliminary options. It's too deep. They don't make the aluminum ones tall enough. So it's a pretty deep channel.
That's a big drain, yeah.
So, you'd be looking at, either a concrete box, which we all know isn't until next year. Or we could get some pipe sized and see if we get multiple pipe that go through there. But I don't know if you've ordered any large ones lately, but it might take a little while too.
The last ones last year were 7-foot pipes and those took us a long time to get. Our emergency pipes that were sitting in here in South Dakota to get up for a project, didn't show up until November for that one bridge that was closed that in the next couple of weeks, Triple B is gonna be up there. Their plan was towards the end of July to be over by Dushik's putting those culverts in. But those culverts were made in here on South Dakota, had to be brought to Fargo and squashed, and then get here. And they were already there, and it took us over a month to get those.
What about these aluminum box?
Yeah, I don't think we can get them tall enough. They have a limit on how much fill you can have over them. And I think this channel's like 20, probably roughly 20 feet deep. Usually the tallest ones are like a little over 13, and they want a maximum of 4 feet of fill.
Yeah.
So that's the main drawback on trying to get the aluminum ones to work, is that there's a few more constraints than there is on the concrete ones.
Yeah, okay.
It's doable, but in the spring it'll be underwater.
Yeah.
Not this year's flood, but last year's flood, right to the level of gravel it was right to the top of the road, where it was still usable. We never had to close it in 2022. But if we lower that road at all, we're gonna have to
You'll be losing the road.
we'll lose the road, yeah. So then it would be a detour on the 4 again.
Wasn't there water overnight someplace up there this spring?
No,
Yeah.
Nash.
right by Nash.
Yeah, and that one goes under all the time.
Yeah.
This part doesn't, I've never seen that part go underneath water. Yeah, real scramble for that, but, so lowering that or putting it in too small of a culvert makes me really
Yeah,
nervous
no.
about.
I couldn't believe all the water in Castle, because I said, I don't know how many years ago when I used to drive by there, it was almost dry. And now you look at it, it was a lot of water there.
It's dropped about 3 feet since you were there. I drove by it, it's coming back.
Oh. That quick, huh?
Yeah, it's going out just as fast as it came in, so you can see the mud line around Cashel.
Didn't we get water from Pembina County coming down that drain?
Yep. It's all that 9-inch rain, so it's not, they all came through.
Ask them to slow it down.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
So was this something that you found? or was
I'm
this
sure
on our
they didn't
bridge
want it
inspection list?
This is one that the bridge inspections found and they got right. You know, and it's got, when you go down and you're underneath, the timber pylons are basically all cracking right at a bolt secure line. Or one of them has actually tried to adjust itself where it's busted off about a 2x4 out of you're talking highline pole. Pylons underneath it. It's got a concrete deck on it, so there's possibilities that it could be reused, but I've heard that the last concrete deck that was on number 9, when they pulled it off and when it was being replaced, some of those pieces broke, so it looks good, but when you want to take them apart, maybe it's not as good as the shape as it is. It's got gravel on top of it. Probably one of the things that could have been an issue to help add to it. One bridge was built in 1968, so it's one of our newer ones.
That's a new one.
Yeah, it's one of our newer ones. You know,
It's
sad to
a
say,
new
but
model.
it's one of our newer ones. We see how many of them we have at our truss bridges that are built from the 30s and earlier. That's one of our newer bridges, but, you know, it also has where you just come down to meet the bridge from both sides. So, just like we were talking earlier with the speeds and the weight and the traffic,
No.
it wasn't made to take the beating that it does.
So if this traffic's gonna get redirected to 4, what can we do to be proactive on that before we?
We're gonna have to dig up some spots on it and try and put some tile in there. I wanna work with the landowner that, we've been informed has been too scared to come to us, is what it was, kind of told us. There is no ditch in his field, to see what we can do for getting some of that water to not just sit there. When Ernie and I were there last week, you can see the water ponded right next to the road. The rest of the field was basically dry except for that spot where it wasn't, right next to the road, but basically where there was a ditch, established ditch, some of that water would be able to flow through and leave. And that water not sitting there would definitely help the base of 4.
Every soft spot you could go and drive by it and look to the east and there was water in the, whatever, there ain't a ditch there, but it was saturated.
Why is there no ditch?
Well, I got it from a neighbor that he talked to him and they're willing to drain it, but they're just afraid of a permit. And I said, well, we gotta talk to them. I said, I don't know why they're afraid, but you know, if it's like, some guys, when they permit, even when they talk to every day, they're worried about liability after they do it. Well, there really isn't if you do it to the specs. And I think it's just a communication deal, really. Cause they're willing, it'll help them big time too.
Yeah,
Maybe we can get that done before harvest.
Hopefully, I don't know.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We have to try and do something without the ditch there for us to dig it up and drain out. It doesn't.
Any bridges on that road that we have to be concerned about?
No, cause they're impermanent.
Only if they go down 7, but that bridge, I couldn't get underneath to look underneath it because it was full of water. It's that drain, the Willow Creek drain that comes in from the north down into Cashel was flowing hard still. It was down a little bit, but there's nothing, no way you can get down underneath it to see and check on things. You can see on the abutments on both ends where there was some gravel that had put down, which makes me think that there might be a small bit of soil going through the abutment head, nothing serious, nothing we don't see every time it floods on multiple bridges around the county. But just something that we'll have to take a look at, but the water's gonna have to go down before we can get down and take a heavy look at it. But that'd be the only other bridge that would be concerned with, and that'd be on 7, not on 4.
Is a lot of that water coming from that St. Thomas drain?
Yeah, the St. Thomas on 66 and through there. From St. Thomas to Drayton. So lots of crops up there underwater, so.
You said they're very possible to be using a township road too, so.
Our candidate, Tom, said he would, and I'm not familiar with the township road he was talking about, it sounded to the north, but he said that's one they'll use to get to Ford or something. He said that will wreck the township road, so I'm not quite sure which one he meant, I'd have to go look.
Yeah, I don't know which one. There's a mile north, it's open, 2 miles north, or no, 4 miles north, there's a bridge that's closed up there.
I thought he said a mile north.
But a mile north, there is a road there. It goes through St. Andrews and around, so I don't know, it doesn't get you to interstate, but it'll get you around that section. So you can get around the bridge and back onto number 9. But it's a couple mile detour.
Well, just so we can be proactive with the stuff before harvest starts and.
Yep.
I mean, we hate to bottleneck those guys up and funnel them down one road because
Well, there's a lot of product in that area, you know, not even that, I mean, you're gonna have grain harvest and everything else.
everything.
Yeah, just a standard harvest. It's
Yeah,
just standard egg, whether it's planting or harvesting, that road is a main artery. And if you lose it, it hurts badly. So we're working on some stuff and I'll try and, well, I'm gonna say I'm on the water board's agenda for that next week. And, we'll kind of see what we can do, but I'm a little bit nervous about putting 9-foot culverts in, honestly.
So what?
I'm a little nervous of 2 9-foot culverts.
they'll blow out.
Well, I don't know if they'll blow out or, but the amount of water that comes through that is the part that scares me. So. It's just something I wanna make sure we get that one right. So we don't have it go underwater.
Yeah.
So,
9 foots might be a temporary fix quick, but not a long term.
right, and it might be something that we have to just go and do and put in a temporary, if we can find people to do it, and we get the culvert, just so we can have the road open. So, then we'll have some 9-foot culverts around, so. We have some culverts that are in the pit, but they're not big enough to use for it.
So is this something that, well, it'd be the water, I mean, it's over drain, would they get something from FEMA on it, maybe? Cause of spring flooding or no?
I don't think this is gonna be considered for a FEMA site because of the structural component to it. I don't think that we'll get any FEMA money for this. This one will be strictly a structural problem, so we'll just have to work with them and see what we can do to get going on it, so. We'll let them know what we've already done and go from there, so. I've kind of given them a heads up, about it already, so. That brings me to the next update, the DOT BRP CBD 5015. That's for the 3 bridges that are coming, but I have the contract for KLJ in front of you to be signed along the tab. This is for L Engineering Services, up not to exceed $21,000. It's something we approved at the last commission meeting, but for the value on it, I figured I'd better bring it in here for signatures. This speeds up our process for moving forward with those bridges, and we're actually taking a look at next week being on site at Fordville to start building the bypass. And we've Wade's already spoken with them about moving the Voss Bridge around in their priorities. So they had it as the lower priority and wanted that swapped.
Yeah.
When I understand, they're more than willing to.
Yeah, they said that wouldn't be a problem, that they.
The one north of Boston?
Yeah, they said they could do that one before the one on County Road 8.
Oh, that's a big one in the harvest too.
Well, they've already got the equipment at Fordville.
Yeah, and some stuff.
What are they gonna, they're gonna put pipes in there on that bypass?
Yep, we got 8 foot and 2 4 foot. And so it's just a 2 year that it has to pass for these bypasses. So there'll be a conversation with them about the spring floods and what they'll have to do to make sure that's.
Which side of the road is the bypass going on?
So, yeah.
And then can you refresh my memory? I want to make sure I understood you last time. You said the 3 bridges we're doing
Yes.
will all be aluminum now, or just 2 and Portville will be cement?
Yes.
Or it'll be
Cement, it'll be
a full bridge, similar to what's there now.
Okay,
Yep, and then the other 2, instead of concrete box culverts, will do aluminum. box
aluminum
culverts.
box culverts. okay.
Yep,
Is the new bridge gonna be wider than the one that there's now?
it's 30 foot total, and then the guardrails is 28 in between the guardrail. But I don't, the new one, or the existing one, not sure if that's 24.
I was gonna say that can be 28.
Yeah, so it'll be 28, that's the county standard, so,
Good, a little wider won't hurt.
yeah.
And how long the completion of that one, do you think?
They're hoping to get the deck set, this fall, but they likely won't end up pouring the actual deck until next spring. You know, if we get a nice, Indian fall and can get something done, they could potentially have it, but I'm guessing it'll be probably next May before they're pouring the deck. So that's what we'll have, we're having a pre-construction conference with them on Friday, and we'll just let them know that they're gonna have to have somebody there and maintain that thing to make sure that it's open,
Mhm.
so. So we'll make sure we hammer that home, and we'll be sure to, you know, if you guys are over there and you see something, feel free to call me, and I'll direct it to them right away,
Okay,
so.
So when they widen that bridge, they're gonna have to widen the shoulders on the road for part of it then too, huh?
Yep, so we'll have full guardrail that flares out, you know, the one right now just basically stops, so it'll flare out to be, you know, there'll be quite a bit of grading on the sides there as well. Yep.
And then when that bypass is done and removed, those culverts are ours, so we'll have those we can use in other
What
spots.
size are those?
The 8.4.
Total of 16 feet, I just thought that's gonna be enough.
Yeah, for the regular flows, I think it'll be all right, but yeah,
Describe regular.
yeah, right.
This year.
Since I started,
Oh.
So,
So what'll happen if it's not a regular flow?
wash out, we'll not closing the road and wash out and refill.
Yeah. You can't predict Mother Nature.
Yep.
So what do we do? Well, maybe I'm overthinking this, maybe we just go with it, but what happens if?
if that happens, well, there's ways around, but they're gonna have to go travel a few miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I'm thinking more emergency services,
Oh, yeah,
because 12B will be, you know, I don't,
But at least
I don't wanna go-
emergency services, they still can use a bridge or something on a township road where the farmers like, when they're
Right.
doing this bypass, they're worried about a bridge here and there.
Can't go.
But at least they can jog around.
Yeah.
It's inconvenience, but at least they can get it.
yeah, and hopefully we can hope for the best on this one.
Yeah.
And it's the fall where we can get everything works out for them. And, I'm fine with skipping a flood here for the spring. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
about that too.
So when they take those deck tops off, is there any other use they can use them for? Or they just scrap them?
No, there's cement.
Yeah, this one's cement, so there is metal beams under there. It really depends on the condition of them. Some of them you don't know what the top of them look like until you get that deck off. Sometimes the contractors will salvage them and take them back to their yard. It varies by bridge, but.
What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, it might be, you know, you always wonder, you know, what do we do with them and everything else, and I take them, I don't know if you're familiar, we got trouble with the bike path. Well, it's just a bike path, why couldn't we lay that on top and then get rid of those culverts, and there's just too much water in there?
I don't know, you transport that bridge up.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing, I don't know, but how do they get most of that stuff, you look on number 2 now, what they're doing there, right by Petersburg, my God, I don't know how they got all that in there, but. So, this probably doesn't pertain to it, when you, like, let's say when you do a bridge like that, do you build up the dirt more and then bring it down? Cause like on number 2, they put it real high and then all of a sudden now they're bringing it down, and is it cause of compaction or what?
Yep, so it's
Okay.
on a surcharge, so they build it up to get that extra weight on it, and then it compresses the soil down below it. and helps, all these interstate bridges have that bump at the end.
Yeah.
It's supposed to help alleviate that, so I think they put 15 feet on top of what the road is gonna be. And then once it's, 6 to 8 months, they peel it off and,
I couldn't figure out why they did it, so will you do something like that with this one, you'll build it up a little and,
well, it's usually when you're doing, like significant grade raise. So
Okay.
this one we're staying pretty much on.
oh,
the
sure,
same
it's there,
level.
yeah.
So this one we won't need to do that, but.
I couldn't figure that out all the time I was driving by there, and you look up at that other bridge and go, what the heck, and then all of a sudden now it's just look, it's still a little higher. Is that a tendency too, when you got two bridges like that, to have one higher than the other one? Cause it looks like the one on the north side is gonna be a little higher than the south side.
Yeah, I guess I don't know why that would be,
I would
maybe
say
that,
it's snow or something, yeah.
yeah, maybe the railroad had higher clearances now or something
Oh,
like that
sure,
too,
sure.
but.
Not our problem anyway.
No, but it's interesting that you explained that complex.
Being we passed this at the last meeting, I should be able to just go ahead and sign this, right?
I would think so, yeah, because we already made a motion to move forward with KLJ, so it's more just a signature formality.
Yeah.
And then the other, short form agreement for the up to 10,000 for these bridge type things, I'm just looking for, it has my name on it, so it's basically your approval for me to sign the other one. For the miscellaneous professional services contract.
I'll make a motion, we let Jason sign that miscellaneous professional services agreement.
Rich, is there a second?
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Well, I have a question on that. It says estimated fee for services is $10,000. Is that for so many hours? per
Yeah,
job?
So it's one that we bill out just hourly, it's when Jason calls and, like on the one on number 9, when we need to do a hydraulic analysis, that way we don't have to get a contract every time, it's kind of like an on-call thing. We had one with Sharon in 21 for 10,000 and we just, finished filling that one out. So that's basically just renewing it, it's just hourly, when every hour bill, they have a comment of what it was to, so yeah, it's.
So how many hours would we get for $10,000? Roughly.
It depends on who's working on things.
Okay.
Usually, it depends on if it's myself driving out somewhere or if I have one of our interns checking numbers on something else or, doing that, but, I don't know, I mean, it's probably 1,000. An average of $100
Okay.
or something like that, so it's.
Okay.
It should be as a way as.
Yeah, and
Sounds
like
good.
I said, the one with Sharon went from 21 until last month,
Okay.
so it's, yeah.
Those hours are tracked and documented?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we have monthly billings on those hours, but it's not part of these other contracts, so.
And if there's ever any questions, let me know. I will be able to get more clarification on it. And yeah, we have a pretty good tracking method for it, so.
Let's see, a place to sign on that.
That, on
I
that,
don't know if Jason wanted it,
I'll sign it, just a third one, so. I'll sign that one.
All right.
The last thing on my agenda is.
did we vote on that motion? Did you sign it?
No, we didn't.
Oh, sorry. Further discussion on that motion? I will call for the vote, Christie.
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Motion carried. Thank you, Ernie.
I thought I was using it.
So the two of us will make it through this, huh?
Mr. Chairman. So with the cooling, the judge wanted to be here during that, and being it's way ahead of time, she won't be here till 10:15, so, could we either wait with that, or she can just come in when I told her just come up when she gets
You
here.
know, we take a 5-minute break and then.
Yeah, she won't be here till 10:15, she's on her way here.
Yeah. That's a.
back up.
Anything else?
Want to take care of that property quick claim?
Yeah, and then we'll let you go. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks,
Anyway,
Julie.
I'll,
Appreciate it.
Let me know if anything comes up.
Okay, thank you.
There's a judge here.
Oh, okay.
Good morning.
Morning.
Step right up.
Yes. I'm here with Kelly Hutton and Deb Demers, Deb, the clerk of court. Kelly is the court administration from the Grand Forks unit. So anyway, hello.
So court administration, what does she have to do?
Oh, okay, so the way the districts are set up, there's, I don't even remember how many districts, but there's 4 different units, so they have court administration. There's a court administrator, an assistant court administrator, and then like somebody that's like a bookkeeper type of person is what you'd say. Anyway, so they're housed in Grand Forks. And they are in charge of the 2 units, which is our district, the Northeast Judicial District, and then the Grand Forks District, which is Grand Forks and Nelson counties. And so they do all the court administration things, like if we need new computers, that's where we go to get that. They have it all on schedule, so we don't even have to go to them. They just come in and replace the computers and figure out if we need updates to software and things like that. And then if we have budgetary things, like the things we have to purchase for the court that are state expenses, they take care of all that accounting and things like that. I know you do a lot more than that. Those are the things that I know about.
The best comparison is like the superintendent is for the schools, we do all of that stuff for the courts, so all the human resources, all of that stuff.
There we go. All that other stuff too.
all right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had our court security meeting, was it last week or maybe the week before? And anyway, one of the things that came up, even though it really doesn't have to do with security, was the heating and the cooling system. And I expressed at that meeting my concern about what if we're gonna do a new heating and cooling system, what is it gonna actually look like? Because I am really concerned about the courtroom. And that is a room that we will never be able to rebuild or redo. It's it is what it is. And any kind of modifications that are made to that I know I'm really fussy, I'll be honest with you, I'm really fussy. So the stuff that's happened so far about drives me crazy, because when they've come in to like, install new wires and things like that, they just drill holes in the wood and just, whatever. I would never deal with it at my own house, but okay. But if we're talking about having to put in some kind of a system that is gonna be open vents or things like that hanging from that ceiling, you guys will have to go up and look at the ceiling to see. I don't know how much money was spent those few years ago, but we've got like this is the silver leaf and stuff up there, and I don't know, so really that was the main thing that I was talking about, was to make sure that there was some consideration made. I don't know what you're gonna do elsewhere, but that there really should be some consideration made for the courtroom that maybe is different than other. Originally, I think one time Jason told me he thought maybe they were gonna drop ceilings. Well, you can't drop the ceiling up there.
We'd have to box in vents or have a drop ceiling for it, or, we're trying to hide the doctor, or just gonna have spirals in places that. It's always part of the construction to see what we can hide and what we can't hide.
How does that work with that,
We don't know.
okay, with like the historical part of it?
Yeah.
We're trying to keep the integrity of the building, but we don't.
Right. Right, well, what I can say is that
I have been like in the Pierce County Courthouse, which looks very much like the Pembina County Courthouse, they're almost like identical. And in Pierce County, they have open vent. I mean, it's just bizarre. I went there and I was like, what did they do to this courthouse? And I just don't think we want that. I want to make sure that you guys agree with that, we don't want that. We don't want to ruin the
Aesthetics.
yeah.
Mhm.
And really, after having been, you know, because I go to all the 11 counties and then I get assigned, all judges, not just me, but I get assigned, I go to Minot, which is out of the district, the Supreme Court. If the judges all have in that unit or district have conflicts, and that happens sometimes, they assign out of area judges. So I've gotten assigned to cases in Minot, I've gotten assigned to cases in Grand Forks, I've gone, you guys know, none of them have courthouses that compare to this, and none of them have courtrooms that compare to ours. I mean, it's just, they just don't. They've been chopped up, like even in Grand Forks, you know, they have that brand new courthouse, but it's all chopped up, and it's just.
We worked hard, not, you know, the integrity of this, but even on the outside.
Right,
And you know, there's answers that you could probably do something on the outside and do it inside and then shove it in, and no, I don't want any pipe or anything outside this building either.
right.
So it's like when we met with Johnson Controls there and stuff, we couldn't really give them an answer what we're gonna do.
Right.
And they don't know until we decide, you know, how much money do you stick in a building or how much it's gonna cost, and there's a lot of, but the integrity I know is one of the big issues that we wanna try to keep if we can.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, but from what I remember, when I asked Johnson Controls, there was no way to put it in the interior of the walls, right? It would all be
Yeah.
external, and I agree with you. I'm trying to envision what that would look like,
Right,
you know, but that was my understanding. It would have to be external.
because the walls are all the concrete or whatever they are.
We could dig into the walls to do it, but it's gonna make the project substantially more and a much more evasive, much more time, because you're gonna be hammering. all the walls.
Mr. Chairman, we were discussing at a court security meeting, would there be any way to just do the courtroom in a way where it wouldn't be, you know,
Aesthetically.
yeah, I mean, of course, this building would have to be done something like that, but if we could just, take out the courtroom where they wouldn't have to put something that would,
It all comes down.
I'll say ruin it, yeah.
There's possibilities, but to get the airflows and different things, how you bring it in to get it, there's that mechanics to it that would have to come into play.
Yes. If we could at least
Wrap it
ask
or
them
something,
to
They're willing.
consider it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how, but the thing about the courtroom is we are on the top floor. So if there's some sort of a system that can be done on the roof that just heats that top, or heats and cools that top floor, that's different, because, you know, there's ductwork in there, so I don't know enough about heating and cooling to know, but I'm sure I wanted to kind of let you know about that. And then I have been asked to tell you, and it's hard for me because I don't like to, you know, complain about stuff, but I have wanted to like make sure that you guys understood that, you know, the chambers in the courtroom, especially during the spring and the summer, it swells up there. There is so much moisture. We run a full-fledged, a big dehumidifier in that chamber that's in the room that's in the middle, the library, as I guess some people call it. And then I bought little dehumidifiers myself and put them in all the other rooms, because the doors swell, you can't get the doors open and closed, it's so damp up there, and sometimes, you know, when you try to put your paper through the copy machine, you know how that, everyone knows how that is. But it's the sewer gas smell that's probably the worst. The dampness we can manage through you know, but the sewer gas smell is pretty serious. And I don't know where that's from. We've had, since I've been up there like 5 years now, they've had different solutions, like plug the sink and then pour that green stuff in there. Or, you know, sometimes you just put that green stuff in a cup and take it to different places in the office just to try to cut the smell, but that it is an issue.
Shouldn't have to work in those conditions.
Yeah. But, you know, I don't know, is that part of the heating and cooling and sewer, or what is that?
That's only if we do an ADA and that doesn't do anything with the pipes that are in the walls. That's just updating the rest of the stuff, so eventually those things could go away. Some of it is some of the pipes that have been removed and the traps in the walls that there's no access to those anymore to put stuff into those traps, because the traps won't remove when fixtures were taken out, or you're not gonna cut the floor out to remove sinks and toilets that were in there. That would have been crazy to do, because then you're starting to look at other issues. So right now, all we do is making out the rotation goes and dumps fluid down the traps just to keep them from drying out. We tried oil, we tried, other items that we've been told to pour a little bit of that in, and that helps it, but it still dry out no matter what we've tried.
Yeah.
So it's, and the worst, when it's bad upstairs, and when it's bad upstairs, you know, because it's just as bad in the basement.
Yeah, I mean,
We walk.
you can
in the door-
smell it when you come in the back door,
Yeah.
yeah.
From the back door and you can see the face. But that part fixing, from what I'm understanding from custom air, that crack is not part of what Johnson Controls has looked at, but they'd be willing to add it in to see what they can do to make it go away without any issues. We just have to tell them what we want, and if we want to move forward with that, them to go move forward with the construction and the design phases to come up with how they can try to make it more beautiful. Because I mean, John's his courthouse, he doesn't wanna, in John's words, he doesn't wanna ruin the aesthetics that we have here either, because he's kind of mad, because this was like walking into a movie theater, or into something that should be in the movies.
And it was, Mr. Chairman, it was my understanding that they were aware of that we wanted to work with the aesthetics.
Yeah.
You know, that we just didn't want to slap up something that was gonna look ugly, so I was hoping they were to come up with a plan that, even though it had to be external, I
Yeah.
don't like that either, but that they were going to come up with some kind of a plan that would look aesthetically
Right.
good.
Right.
But as far as the sewer smell, we have to look into that too. We can't have employees working in that, or people coming into the building and dealing with that.
Yeah, I know.
That's just not,
Is that sewer smell included in that initial $5 million?
No, it
or
wasn't.
The bathroom was part of that first issue, but the other part
Not
wasn't.
the sewer.
No.
and the bathroom was just for 88, correct?
Yes, make
Right.
ADA changes, and with those ADA changes, if we went through it what they fully brought up to us, if we take the partitions out for your normal day-to-day operations, we can make ADA
Mhm.
on this floor and upstairs.
Mhm.
The problem you run into is when you have jury trials, if you're trying to make accommodations for that, there's no way to do it. So in order to make, the building then ADA compliant upstairs, we'll end up having to quite possibly lose the, law library upstairs next to the men's bathroom, or Christie's office on the other side, to expand the bathrooms out to accommodate for them.
To be ADA compliant, you have to have more than one stool, or?
For occupancy wise, yes,
Oh.
Well, otherwise.
You do?
occupancy wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because, Mr. Chairman, if we have a jury trial, and,
Courtroom are numbers.
I mean,
So the
unless
easiest
you put some
one,
screens up, but there's, you know, there's only one.
even in the basement, we'd end up losing the planning. in there, Cause the women's bathroom would move over, and they have that in the first plan, where the women's bathroom would move over into the planning room that we use for small meetings and different things. Or we'd end up losing that room entirely.
And that, I mean, that's the point we're wrestling with is, you know, a $5 million bid. That's roughly half the price of new, considering the square footage of the courthouse.
Right.
And we haven't touched the electrical system or the sewer system. That's
How
like,
much
man,
money you stick in an old car? This is an old building.
it's a beautiful
Yeah.
building and everything, and then you've got the problem of what do we do if we do move?
Yeah, I don't wanna make a decision.
And when we looked at that building down in, Fort Wayne. Yeah, the cost per square footage, just the 5 million on the heating and cooling would go about halfway to a new building.
Yeah, that's a really tough decision.
My concern is, and like you said, if we spend the 5 million, how many more million is it gonna do if we decide to stay in here? You get the sewer, the pipes, the ADA. You know, when does it come to where we just move?
I know.
Yeah, that scares me. I just, you know dang well with the age of this building, there's gonna be more coming. It's just constantly. So what decision do we make? Just get out of here and then just take care of the building so it's historical? Add on to the jail if it, you know, and all this sort of goes to the taxpayers. Are they gonna improve it? I don't want a new building. I don't know. We don't need a courthouse. Well, then what do we do? I don't know. It's gonna be tough. We just gotta be open to the public and make dang sure we got all our T's crossed and everything when it comes to a time for a vote or whatever, and hopefully they accept it.
Karen, you have a question?
Well, I just got a comment. We have been discussing this. They've come back with their estimate of, you know, their plan or whatever. And we won't have a jail for another 4 years. And we have to do something for the employees here. We can't just keep pushing the can down the road and keep talking about this meeting after meeting. And I think we need to make a decision on whether or not to give Johnson Control the go-ahead to show us this plan, because we don't know how much it'll cost. We're guessing on that 250, thousand, but they haven't showed us the plan, and we need to have a plan of this, and we need to have a plan of that. But if we don't give them the go-ahead to do it, like I said, we just keep kicking the can down the road, and it just gets more expensive. So I think we need to make a decision even today on whether we have them go ahead and have them come, drop their plan and give it to us.
Well, Ernie and I met, and Jason met with Johnson Controls, Zoom meeting, whatever, teleconference. And they were gonna be going back and tweaking their bid, trying to figure out how we can do this a little cheaper.
But we didn't, as a commission, we didn't vote on it for them to do that, did we? We just talked about it,
We
never
talked
came.
about dropping the ADA component,
Yeah.
generally to reduce the price, and just only going to the AC and the heating and cooling portions.
And they were gonna get back to us.
They were gonna get back to us, yeah.
They're still.
What was it, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago we met, wasn't it?
But do we need as a board, as a quorum here, to give them the go-ahead to bring it back to us then, or not?
They were gonna
They
bring
were
it
gonna
back.
bring it back.
Yeah.
And basically, from the conversation I've had with
Okay.
John, the initial part doesn't really change, it's just
Okay.
dropping the ADA, the rest of it is.
Well, my concern was that it just keeps dragging on, that we're not giving them the go-ahead. But if that's the case, and you've given them a go-ahead to bring us back that plan for us to approve, then I'm fine with
It's an
that.
estimate plan.
Right.
It's an instruction.
Right.
And from Johnson Controls time, like I was talking to John last week, basically, if we drop the ADA component out of what they gave us, that's what their estimate's gonna be for what we're gonna move forward. And I think that was almost $1 million for the ADA component. So instead of 5, you'd be at 4.
Okay,
And he was just sort of guesstimating too.
Sure.
if you look at it.
Guess.
well, I would really like for us to just move forward then, just really, pressure them into coming to give us that back, because we've been dealing with this for a long time.
We are,
Yeah.
we're waiting for them
Okay.
to return the bid.
Okay, and then for us to be able to vote on it, whether we wanna proceed.
It's not good, but once again, just make sure everyone's aware, it's not, they won't bring a bid. It'll be
Right.
an estimate.
Estimate.
Yep, mhm.
And we were, I guess we can be to blame too, we were sort of dragging our feet because we really didn't know which direction we wanted to go. We told them that at the meeting. Do we
Right.
look at this, at adding on to the new one, we build a new jail, or, you know, a lot of it's gonna rely on taxpayers, how do we answer that?
Well, Mr. Chairman, and that's why I say let's move with this so we can get it out to the public. For them to come to at least our next meeting, if not a special meeting, to find out about it. This way we can, you know, it'll be in the paper, whatever we need to go from there to do. Because we're not gonna get an answer, you know, just from us then. We can,
Right.
I don't know how we want it.
We're still gathering facts on it, exactly. When we went down to Fort Wayne, that's when we found out it's about $500,000 a square foot to.
Fort Wayne was a prison that you went to, or?
Jail.
County jail, and sheriff's office.
Okay, and how much per square foot could they give you an idea?
What was it?
They built their jail at 50, their whole place is 50,000 square feet, if I remember right, and it was under 20, the same amount of cost as what Barnes was at 82.
Yeah, roughly 20 million.
$20 million for 50,000 square feet.
Oh, I can't do the math. But, okay.
So about $400 a square foot.
Yeah. And that's where we came up with about half, this $5 million for heating and cooling is about half the price of a new building.
Ms. Hunt, was there something, it's just a couple of quick things, Mr. Commissioner, to Karen's, Commissioner Anderson's point. We have some current concerns in the courtroom with it being hot, even with this fix that has been implemented. Litigants are sitting in there, was it 80 some degrees up there, and they're sitting all day. So you have members of your community and citizens coming in for jury service. And it's just not a great representation of what this courthouse is. So like Judge Whalen was saying, we have 13 courthouses, and this is the most beautiful courthouse, interior, stairways, everything. So I just want that to be put out there that if you make an investment in this building, it's an investment in the building regardless, whether you keep it for historical purposes or rent it out in the future, however you're looking down the road. And just in my experience, $20 million is low for what you're gonna replace this building for. Because unlike jails, it's gonna be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. All the beautiful woodwork, like even look at this room, like it's just intricate. Most commission rooms aren't like this, so you're gonna be putting more money in than somebody would be putting into a jail. So you have to think it's gonna be a little bit more expensive than that. Yeah, we even had to purchase a portable air conditioner for the clerk's office because of how god awful their office was.
Miserable in there. And it's really interesting because like now, last week it was so hot up there. It was just hot. And I know that air conditioning was working and running, but I mean, it was hot. So when
There goes up, yeah.
when people come in, I tell the attorneys, you know, I know it's really hot in here. You don't have to wear your jacket. You don't have, I mean, we changed some of those decorum things because it's, because it.
You don't know what the environment's gonna be.
No.
Right, that's what it is.
Like today, it's freezing in here. I
Yeah.
use a jacket.
Yeah.
Mr. Commissioner, we were here last week and there was a musty smell, like as soon as you walked in the courthouse. And if you go into the clerk's office where Ms. Flanders sits, her vent is like gray. There's stuff on it and they've cleaned it, like it's, I encourage you to walk up, I would let you in there today to kind of take a look at that too. Because I'm sure there's other vents like that in the courthouse and that's not something we want for any of our employees.
Yeah. I mean.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, my concern is just that, like I said, we're not gonna build a jail till several years, and I don't know what to do, but we need to do something. We need to move forward with something. I don't know what.
How long has it been this way? The heating and I mean, the temperature control and.
Oh, well, I've been working, I've been working here since, in this building since 1995. I had a hiatus for about 6 years when I was gone, but when I first started here as the assistant state's attorney, I never noticed the smell.
But certainly the heating and cooling has always been an issue, and myself, I just always thought, oh my gosh, there's, so many different people in this building that have different temperature controls. Everybody's complaining, one person's hot, one person's
Yeah.
cold, how do you manage it?
Right.
Sort of a thing. So, but in terms of the moisture in the courtroom and the moisture in the judges' chambers, I think that's been there forever.
No, it's worse.
Okay. Worse.
How long have you been here, Bill?
35 years.
And it hasn't been this way?
It's getting progressively worse. The sewer smell is,
Yeah, the sewer smell is,
Last 5 years, last 10 years?
well, the sewer smell has been since I've been out there.
yeah, the sewer smell has been many, many years. I would say more than 10. The humidity in the judge's office, I don't remember it so bad when Judge Geiger was here. So it seems in the last 5 years, it's gotten worse. And I don't know if it's because of security reasons, we all have to have our doors shut now.
Oh, sure.
You know,
What?
all
Oh,
the doors
doors
are closed now.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
we didn't.
No
before
movement.
we could leave.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it, but,
How about the heating and cooling part?
well, everybody has a space heater. I mean, I don't know, maybe Christie hasn't been here long enough to have one, but
I need one today.
everybody has one or two space heaters, because in the winter you're cold, in the summer you're cold. You know, you can't regulate anything. And it used to be in the courtroom where they could switch the air between the courtroom and the farmer's room. And I think I understand from Jason that that was disconnected at some point. And since then, that courtroom's been quite miserable. I mean, this summer's been the worst out of the 35 years.
So you're saying it's cold?
No.
It's hot, it's so hot, I was gonna say, it's so hot. So when, if air conditioning isn't working, your moisture gets worse, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, could we look at, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But I was wondering if we could look at one of those portable air conditioners for the courtroom, those, like we saw at
Yeah,
the
like
courtroom.
It has to be vented though someplace
Right,
out.
it would be.
Well, I mean, is it something for a fix for them, because you can't have people working in 80-degree
The problem
temperatures.
with that is it's very loud and all we hear is a recorder.
That's true too.
Was it low?
No.
Any kind of
I don't
portable.
remember it being
The
loud.
one we saw.
No, the one we saw was not loud.
Or you
was
talking
that
about
at?
the kind that Jason has, or the kind that I bought for our office is one that has to be vented outside. And Michelle has to turn it off. You know, sometimes you get people that don't talk very loud on the phone, and she has to turn it off so she can hear people.
Mm.
And Tammy's recording everything, and it picks up a lot. So, and there's only a couple windows I don't know which one you find
Where did
Tammy.
you guys see one?
It was at the airport in Yonkers, correct? It was,
Those are
remember
air
this?
Yeah.
Those are marked air purifiers.
No, they were air conditioners, he told us, because they were
Yeah, they
working
were
on their
meant to be
conditioning.
outside.
Couple of
And we asked about it, and he said they were fabulous, because I thought right away, okay, we're having this trouble at the courthouse, could we check into those possibly? For, I know it's not a long-term
Temporary.
fix,
Yeah, for
but we need to
temporary.
get you some help now.
Yeah.
We can't have you working in 80-degree heat up there.
Next thing our wiring will handle it, will be flipping breakers or something.
That's the next thing.
I don't know, but upstairs is screwing and fuses, so last year with,
How many fuses? How much would it cost to change that Oxford breakers? Maybe that's where we gotta go. I mean, it's spendy, you go to 100 amp, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you wanna do something like that, you're gonna have to.
Updating the breaker box would be great, then we don't have to worry about not being able to get our hands on the screw and fuses anymore, but without changing the wiring and adding different wires to everything, I don't know if it really does a whole lot for us.
Yeah, but if you got a 30 amp fuse in there, that's pretty heavy wiring, so you still could go to change it to a breaker box.
Yeah, just change it to a breaker box.
And then you probably need
A few thousand.
No, in the old
I was
days,
gonna
it's-
say
whether you like it or not, that's old wiring, but it's probably heavy enough that it'll run these things we want. Just get rid of those fuses.
No,
No?
it was hot, but even with those fuses, those old fuses still
Yeah,
are
there's a reason.
compatible to our breakers, so we'll just strip. the
Yeah, but
breakers
those old
off.
those old fuses get weak after a while. That's the trouble with that.
Well, even with those new ones we put in last year, the intern was so cold, she had two space heaters in their office during court. And would pop the breaker twice during court. And we put a brand new screw-in fuse into it, and we just. I felt
Those
bad.
space heaters take a lot of,
They take a lot of juice. They
you betcha.
And the air conditioner, and it's.
They're not
air
extremely
conditioner well, too.
Maybe the newer ones are, but.
Yeah.
If you're there.
But I have one.
I'm actually,
Everybody in my office has a space heater, and now I've gone to, in the winter time, I've gone to putting it under the bench. I went under the bench now too. And then sometimes in the summer, I have to run it because if it's so cold up there, you can't, I mean, it's just weird. There's,
Control.
yeah.
I've actually had one of the electricians that's come in here to do repairs for us tell me he would tell everybody that they can't have space heaters
We
because
get
it's
notes on our desk.
too much.
Stop running.
Too much for the next thing you know, you could end up with fire because our wires just aren't meant to handle it. So, but I've gone and told people not to have them because they need to work,
Well,
so.
like today, I would have to go put shoes, socks, and a sweater on if it was this way all
I
day
have
today.
It will be this way today. It's when the building gets those 100-degree days that we were having, when the air conditioner was out, it takes a long time to get this building back.
Yeah, then, yeah,
There's no control. You have on or you have off, and we tried,
Yeah.
even last week, we tried to change wells to the other well to get the cold water in, and it didn't work. Where we basically ran a trial for 12 hours and the building got hotter, so we just pushed it back. And babysat the pipes to the point where I thought we were gonna have to do what we did last year, where we pumped water from the system out into the street just to get the cold water. But
Mr. Chairman, well, if we could get Johnson Control to come in then and as soon as we can to give our estimate and stuff, then we can at least go to the public and say, this is our options. This is what we can do, this is what it'll cost. And go from there, because, just.
Well, if we're go to the public, then we should also have a bid on the sewer and the electric. So we know what this whole
Mhm,
project is gonna cost.
mhm.
I was gonna say, we wanna be very careful before we put it to the public, so we
Right.
got all the questions.
Right, exactly.
Great, but,
Worst thing you can do is go out there and try to get them to approve it and then have all the questions unanswered.
mhm, mhm.
well, and I can talk to Johnson Controls and see if they can take a look at it and change the process
Mhm.
to a full analysis of the building with the plumbing, the electrical, and the heating equipment they already have, but
Well, it really is the only way we can move, because without us knowing what the cost, what would be done, I'm one of these people who says, I don't want a new courtroom, I wanna stay here, but if we can't, we can't.
One thing about getting the full bid and everything else, I think it'll be easier for us even before we go to the public to make a decision.
Yes,
I don't wanna pay 5 million knowing that we got 6 more million to spend. To me, you're right, get it all here and put it out here and say, what do we wanna do?
I'll talk to John.
Don't you think? I mean, there's no sense getting half of it fixed, because we still know.
Johnson Controls capable of them.
Yeah.
Full analysis, sewer, electrical.
Yeah, they've done it for UND, multiple buildings, so.
And at that point, we might go, ooh, and then you look somewhere else, but at least we'll know where, right now, we don't know where we sit. We can fix half of it, and what are we gonna have? A courthouse that still has problems.
Well, one thing, and this is completely like not maybe my business, but the problem that we're having with the plumbing over at the jail, do we have that, I mean, the plumbing here is older. I mean, that, right?
And it's falling apart.
Yeah.
except this plumbing probably isn't embedded in cement like it is
Yeah, I
there.
think
It is.
Sure.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the same cast iron.
Cast iron pipe in, built into the wall.
Yeah.
So as I said,
So that's the question then, at what point do you say, people, we have to move into the 21st century, we love the building, but this building has had its life.
This
Building has had its life.
I've had people ask me that you can buy the old Northwest or the bank building for $1 million the moment you move in there. It's an older building, we might have troubles in the future, but that, you know, how much does it take to renovate to make a courtroom? I don't know. But for $1 million, look at the size of that, maybe, I don't know.
They moved out for a reason too.
Yeah.
Well, they went broke.
Yeah, that's.
Or didn't want
they
us to be
move
here
out of
anymore, it
because of
doesn't
the
matter, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, to me, the only way we can move forward and take this to the public is you have to have an estimate for what it's going to cost to repair this building versus what it's going to cost to build new. Because if we only go out with half the story,
Yes,
so we have to have
Yeah.
both.
So is that building, and another question is, are you gonna tie it to the new jail and wait 4 years, or are you gonna build a building by itself somewhere and
That's
go
where
move
we're
forward?
at.
I don't know.
That's where we're at.
Lot of
So
unanswered
until
questions.
then, we have a lot of work to do between now and then. Until then, we have to get you some temporary help. We can't
Yes.
leave you
Yeah.
working at 80 degrees. So I'd like to go back to, I think we need to check into what kind of a portable air conditioning system is there out there to get their temperature brought down, and then it should help hopefully with humidity somewhat. You know, if you get your air conditioning working,
Right.
I'm hoping that it would help with the humidity some.
One of the things we also have to look at when you run these portable air conditioners that we've found that is they generate a lot of water and they're dehumidifying and working, so you have to have some place or some way to get the water out. So.
Yeah.
We're back to.
They're doing pails.
Oh my gosh.
if you get air in there, then that humidity takes care of yourself.
We probably
Yeah, but
change
that
our
humidity has to go someplace.
humidifier in the judges chambers, the big one in that big room. We probably have to empty that like 3 times a day.
Mhm.
And we empty it before we leave, and then we come back in the morning and it's full and it's stocked,
Yeah.
you know, because it's
Mhm.
full or whatever. So that's, you know, but
Won't get air
ever. I mean,
Yes.
It's not a first world problem,
Yeah.
if you really think about it, it's a first world problem. So, you know, there are certain things that we can accommodate. There, you know, life isn't perfect.
But if we would get some air flowing through there, the humidity would go down.
I think so.
I mean, I have air coming in my, 127-year-old basement and hardly any humidity down there because of the air coming down. So if my air would stop, I would walk into the house and I would smell my 127-year-old basement, and I don't now. So,
Yeah.
Well, the thing, the air conditioner that I buy from my office, it doesn't stop when the bucket gets full.
No.
It will flood.
you mean your humidity, yeah, or the
humidifier.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not a humidifier, it's an air conditioner, so it just runs to the temperature, it doesn't have a shut off.
Yeah.
When that's full, it's overflowing and
Yeah.
it'll flood you.
Mhm. Don't leave it on during the night.
Night, weekends.
Yeah,
Well, we turned it off on the weekend.
yeah, and then you gotta catch up.
So you're solving.
Well, all I know is that
you're solving-
airport guy said they work great, those portable air conditioners, he said they work awesome.
Yeah, but they have them vented to the outside and they have them drained. But yeah.
I guess I didn't see that, I didn't see all
You gotta
that.
look at
part.
something, yeah.
Bobby,
Air
most of your
conditioner
new air conditioners and even your heaters now, if you buy a new heater lately, you've got a line and it's drained. It's dedicated line that goes, I had one for 10 years at the farm, my new one's the same way, it's got a line and it drains to your, but that's the way they're built nowadays.
Yeah, when they think about it, at my house too.
Yeah.
Because there's a drain in the utility
Yeah.
room and there's a little line.
Line going
right
from your
through it.
heater, yep. And part of the trouble now, when, like you said, with that air conditioner, you're creating water, well, what does that do to your humidity? So we're solving one and creating the other. So yeah, maybe there's a fix we could do, but it's something we can look at, I guess.
Do you have time to look at this, or do we have, is anybody we can have come in and look at it, or?
One of the things I'm thinking for air conditioners and those things, maybe we move out one of those portable ones in the closet, that's to go to the attic space, there's a drip floor drain in there. So I can try and pull some air out of the courtroom, but the vent's very small. But at least there's air moving between there. The main thing is with the security changes that were done, it stopped that airflow. The only way to open that airflow up now is
To open the doors.
do different things to the security that we put in place. We don't want to jeopardize the security part. But when that part was closed off, that was something that wasn't looked at.
Are those doors opened at night?
No,
They can't be.
well, I don't know.
It's,
You would probably say no, they shouldn't be open at night, but
there's
Okay, I just
confidential.
wasn't sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
And there's just.
well, you
thousands
can't
of
open the
dollars
chamber,
you
the
put in.
chamber is for sure, the courtroom, that's iffy. The whole issue would be just that you have to have it swept every morning then to, you know,
mhm.
make sure
Okay.
nobody's in there.
Right.
And that, Mr. Chairman, that kind of brings me to talk about the door out there.
It gets hot and swells. And
Well,
there gets to be a point where it gets, that aluminum door, the frame gets hot, it swells up. And that's why there's a note on the door, please grab it when you go behind, and I check it when I leave.
You know, I
check
never even noticed that note on that door.
No.
And I know, Bev, was it ajar?
Several times in
But
the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's not because court's gone then past 4:30.
No.
Those doors just aren't latching. Tammy and I came down.
Which doors?
the main door.
The main
West
door,
door,
main-
yeah.
And that was a court security grant that paid for that. I didn't know.
For the automatic closures.
Yeah, I didn't know that aluminum swelled. So how much I know.
We ran into that state parks and recreation all the time, didn't matter what color door you put, the sun hits it and it generates the heat and it swells it up so it doesn't close, and in the winter it gets cold and it shrinks up and doesn't close, so it's constant adjusting.
Yeah,
and-
Mr. Chairman, we definitely need something more than just that white with black lettering. It needs to be big red. Make sure this door shuts or latches behind, whatever you wanna put on there, because most people they're leaving the courtroom, they're thinking about something else. I leave this courtroom, I'm thinking about, oh, I gotta go home and mow. I don't, if I left, I mean, it would be on my brain then, but people leave and forget, and that door, nothing can be done, but.
But you could also put so many signs on the door that.
Well, I
People don't
think
even read them.
big red sign, but I mean,
But can't there be an alarm? Is there some type of a thing
Oh.
where there is an alarm so that if that door isn't latched, an alarm notifies somebody of that?
Should be, I got one on my fridge if the door don't close.
yeah, right? We all do.
Mine does too.
Yeah, you close it halfway and all of a sudden you think it's closed, you hear
Problem is-
beep, beep, beep.
Because I can't hear that either.
I know.
Or if it isn't
First
shut
time
in a
it went off, I
certain
didn't know what it was.
time.
I was looking all over the house, it was a fridge
Yeah,
door.
something like
But I
that.
think.
It sounds like a
I think
smoke
we
alarm
should have
almost.
that
Mine
because,
does, yeah.
That's a great idea.
you know,
I'll double check in the
Okay.
system that we have to see if there's an alert that can go off
Okay.
of that. Cause I know it's for the back door, it doesn't tell us when that one doesn't get closed either in the winter, but
Mhm.
I'll see if there's a notification we can add to it. Biggest problem is get a lot company up if we need them.
Just because I am probably the person that's in the courthouse the latest by myself at night. And I feel very secure back in my chambers and everything. But I will tell you that when I leave, that's the last thing I'm thinking of. I wouldn't even think
You shouldn't have to.
to check to make sure that that door is locked.
Mhm.
No, it's not anywhere in my brain when I'm leaving. And so, I don't know, I thought for a while that the PD, when they were over there, the PD used to walk around the building at night and do a door check. Like they, but I don't know. That's something that maybe we could ask about too, just to make sure that, the sheriff's department, 8 o'clock comes and does a door check or something to make sure that everything is latched, but I think the alarm is a better idea.
Well, even till we get an alarm or get something done with it. I'm wondering if we could talk to the sheriff to have somebody who's on break walk around and,
Yeah,
One of
we
them.
can check it when we leave, it's just if there's court on afterwards.
yeah, that's what I mean.
How
So-
late are you, well, maybe we shouldn't say that, but
Well,
Well,
it wouldn't matter.
There's times where I've come from out of town back to check on things where judge is still here, and it's, well,
If I'm writing something, you know, I may stay till well past dark, but Jason put some new lights back there for me so that it's better.
Good.
And then sometimes I get a little spooked or something, you know, I'm fine, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I call, and the PD will come and sit. They'll go right out there and just wait for me to come down. to
Oh,
get
that's
in the car.
nice, that's nice.
Yeah, so, you know, it's okay, but I'm just telling you from the standpoint of being the last person in the building, I'm not thinking about, I know.
Well, you're going out
I go
that
out the
door.
back door, and I made sure that back door latch left, because there have been times when I was the person that did not get that door closed tight and snow came in or something. So I've gotten,
That'll be good.
so I'm very careful about that now to make sure that I get that door, you know,
Trees
latched.
coming out.
But otherwise, I don't think, you know, I'm not worrying about the
It's
side door.
easy enough fix an alarm deal. I mean, that should be it.
we should, with the system that we have, there should
Yeah.
be some way to get a notification, and those notifications will get pushed to Nikki or myself.
Okay.
Can you put an app on your phone like you and even Ron have it?
Yeah, to
The
dispatch.
app for the work program is crap.
Okay.
When we close the courthouse for different things, I have to go through the system and log into it, the application that they say to put on your phone doesn't work. And you have to go use a certain browser to use it.
Until then, could we ask law enforcement to do a sweep?
I ain't talking Ron.
Okay, yeah, all right. Anything else, Your Honor?
No, but it's nice to see you guys.
You wanna come back when we make the big decision?
No, I don't.
Huh?
That's a tough one. But you know what? I will say, whatever the decision is, you know, we'll support it. I mean,
Yeah.
and make sure that people understand why you made the decision to put the money in this building, you know, which you know how I feel about that, or why you decide that you just can't, because it's time, you know, it's gotta make a decision.
Right. Well, we appreciate your input.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where are we? Got everything you need, Jason?
I have everything from mine unless you have something you need from me.
I would like to say that we've been having some meetings with the guys, and we went through work orders and everything else, and the relationship and the communication in the highway department, we're getting a lot of compliments, so I think we're going in the right direction. I think it was just a lack of communication maybe on my part with them guys, and it just, I got a lot of compliments,
Good.
so we're gonna keep it up.
From the employees?
Yep.
And we'll have, another one I'm trying to get scheduled up for next Friday. So we're gonna have one this week, but 2 weeks before off and different things.
I might not make that
So you're doing it on a
Sister-in-law.
weekly basis?
Every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks, sorry, yeah.
2 week, trying to do every 2 weeks for the shop lead foreman, so Bill, Clint, Stewart.
The work orders are getting out, the bridge crew,
Yeah.
everybody's gravel's moving, everything.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Grab them.
Yep.
If highly. County four, County week two, how's that going?
Johnson's have been hauling gravel on it for 2 weeks now,
Great.
so. They're working on that, and then maybe when we're done, when they get done with that one, we might put them on to number 4. Our guys have been hauling gravel, that have been skating to the point where we're worried about getting too dry.
Yeah.
Then we went-
Amazing.
Then we went to the too wet
Yeah.
part, so it was too wet to haul on some roads without wrecking them, so Clint's really good and knows exactly what he's doing with those, so we just, if he notices when it's too wet one area, they'll go and haul to a different one, so. They have their map of where they're going for everywhere this year, and basically of the 4 Blaze districts, they're all getting about 15 miles of gravel. And then County 2 will be more, still haven't heard anything on 2023, if there's gonna be a flood designation or not. It's in DC, so,
We're gonna have somebody come in and put up gravel again this year, or
no,
we got a good pile.
I think we got a good pile of the stuff that we're doing on County 2, we're taking from our lakeside pit, or from our agreement that we had for the bids for supplies. We're having them pull out of lakeside.
Where's
So
that?
that's a pit right next to ours, so their gravel price they gave us was $3.60, I believe. I'd have to, the number might be wrong, but their gravel price was cheaper than what it was.
What's the one right to the west?
Yeah,
But, okay.
so everything on number 2 is coming out of there, so that we don't, Thompson don't have to wait for us to have somebody there to load them with the payload or anything, they can just go to Lakeside.
Good.
Lakeside loads them up, they have tickets. Thompson's tells us where they're putting it down and we're just, they're kind of,
Any inquiries about the hire?
had one more person put in.
We're gonna have to look at that in budget time. I think we're in the same problem as the police department. I think to be competitive and stuff, we're gonna have to raise our highway department wages. Otherwise, we're not gonna, it is what it is. Right?
I have one more application for it and I didn't see anywhere on there where these guys CDL. But at this point in time, in any bodies before winter. So,
Trouble is, everybody out there is raising their wages too. It's just hard to get anybody.
DOT and everybody, so.
Chris, you have something?
Yeah, I was wondering if we could take a look at 1980 by Travis Belt. That road is, I know they told me it was frost boils, but it's Travis's, it's his feed lot from one approach to the next, and it's very, very dangerous. Like, there's like, it's really dangerous. And all there is a couple little red flags that somebody new on the road, coming on the road, would not know to slow down.
We've thrown a lot of gravel at that this year.
Yeah,
And the blade is out there trying to, for some reason, we can't get that, firm up, we're working on it. Hard.
well, and I'm just wondering if it could maybe be signed better, you know,
Yeah, I can see, we can put some caution.
yeah,
Yeah, right off,
something because
right
it's
off 32.
right off 32 there, and I don't know, I don't know enough about frost boils, but to me, those have already been, weren't they already
Done.
gone?
Yeah, some
No,
of them are.
still are
Oh,
there.
wow.
No.
So I just didn't know if it was the amount of traffic he's got on there with heavy equipment going from that one approach to the next.
Moisture and his stuff coming out, but just the moisture that's there, and there's spots on County 1 between 32 and 18 that are still. Feel like you can hit it, you can lose a truck in.
Oh, absolutely, and I just worry about somebody that's not aware of it,
Yeah.
that's gonna come down it and they're,
Basically, the only other thing we can do is, at this point, just dig it out the entire road and put drain tile in it to try and help with the moisture and rock and get the water out of the bed. Is pretty much what it's down to, is that County 1's has that issue, 4 has that issue.
When you drive on them and you see that black dirt coming up from
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
and that's what happens.
Yeah, and that's what we have going on there. We've taken a lot of gravel to there this year to try and get it and worked it in to try and get the firm up, and it's just not for me,
maybe then if we just do better signage for now and.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I've had lots of calls on that, and Clint's been monitoring that quite often, so.
All right.
Do you need these?
Yeah,
Were we gonna have some engineering reviews?
yeah, I gotta double check my schedule, I think that's
This week,
Thursday.
this Thursday?
Tomorrow is
I
Thursday.
can't make it.
Tomorrow's Thursday.
I've gotta go look at Hale.
What's that for?
Engineer interviews. I couldn't remember what the date is.
Collins is at 9:30 in the morning. And LJ was at 11
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
And when do you guys sit in?
Engineering interviews?
Yeah.
And for the next round of bridges to be built and removals, there's 7 other bridges that we got at DOT funding. So we got 2 proposals from engineers to do the construction engineering portions and the management of it. KLJ and Collins Engineering.
It's something they started, what, 2 years ago now?
They're always supposed to have been doing them, so I don't.
We never did.
But we'd have to have, you're supposed to bring in, if you have 3 engineers apply, you're supposed to bring a minimum of 3 engineering companies in, discuss their history, their credentials, and pick from that. You can't talk to them about, so it's preliminary, it's a set question, and you can't talk to them about cost at all. Otherwise, it doesn't. So we have 10 questions, 15 questions that I have all written up that we have to run through and ask them, evaluate the proposals that they send us on their qualifications, their staff, make a decision on who we want to move forward from there, put in an award, and then that's the next commission. meeting, get a signed resolution, and we will move forward with them, get that information, all the DOT, then they, OKLJ and Collins and engineering. Not like this last one where we had to, the next ones are 100% from DOT, so they'll be able to work with an engineer, and that will come from that funding, will come from DOT to us, so.
I got 10 guys to go look at Hale as well, so.
I'm sorry, I can't, I have a commitment.
Well, you can do it without stupid, yeah.
I can just bring one other person in, it's
Person.
best to have three,
Yeah.
so. If you
I
guys,
just-
if no one from the commission. can
If
make it,
Denny, if you can't, I can. How long does it usually take after 11? Because I'm heading somewhere.
Well,
Does it usually take an hour for each one?
yeah, it's an hour for each one, then a communication with the discussion after that for, usually we pretty much know right afterwards, so. On it, and then that, you review their, whoever's doing it, get you a
Okay.
and review it, so.
I'll come.
Thanks,
I'll just stay up late and get ready.
Okay, so first one's.
I'll mow today.
11:30,
Okay,
And then the next one's out.
okay, I better, just so I don't.
I can send you a meeting request form too if you want.
No, just text me in the morning,
Okay,
just
I'll
because I
text
got a lot of stuff going on.
Yep. I can text
It's
you,
new.
I'll
Okay.
text you tonight and I'll text you tomorrow.
Okay,
I'll put it on my
perfect.
Calendar to text you so.
Yep. I got JDA again today, so. Every week it's, so.
Can I ask one question for Jason?
Yeah.
This is back to this HVAC and this
Yeah.
approval. And when we were talking, it was that, you know, we've got to take this to the public. If we decided to go with this HVAC, let's say it was 4 million, we decided to go with it, does that really have to go to the public? Because we have 2 million in ARPA funds to use, or 1.5 or whatever in ARPA funds. Is this something that we have to take to the public?
Are you talking about whether we should do it here?
Right, if we decide to just say we're gonna replace the HVAC in the courthouse.
No.
I didn't think we
No.
had to take that to the public.
No.
either. It's just if we were to go with a new jail, is that what
Yes,
you're referencing?
yes,
I
yes.
just wanted to clarify that, because I thought, I don't
Yes.
think we have to take that to the public. Okay,
No, we
just
wouldn't.
wanted to make sure.
After we go to the construction phase, or the plans, after we go through that, it's just up to the commissioners on what
Yep,
we move through the construction or not.
Okay,
yep.
I just wanted to clarify.
You know, realistically, whatever money we got here, we got some in a balance, you know, we could probably
Yes.
fund it and everything.
Yes.
We could, yeah.
But do we want, the big ticket
Do we
is,
want to?
Do we want
Yeah, right.
and I don't think. we
And
need
I
the public to
understand
do
that we wanna go to the public to see
Yes.
if we wanna build a new.
The personal responsibility.
Yep.
of
Yeah.
it.
I just don't like the idea of only having one bid, that concerns me.
Right, we need the whole picture.
Yeah.
What do we do to bring this
Well,
courthouse up to speed?
We won't get a true cost until after we go through the design of it. So with Johnson Controls, we go through the design phase where they put the actual plans. They go through and make sure all their sizings and everything that they need are right, what type of pipes we need to use, we'll go through all that process. Once they go to bid, that's when we'll get the true cost, and that's where you'll have multiple people bidding it. I'm sure you'll have companies off the top of my head, there's one out of Crookston would bid something like that, CL Input, Custom Air, couple others out of, and one set coming, he probably would.
Any idea what this is gonna cost, having Johnson did this, or design this whole now?
The design would be probably, I'm just throwing a number, 5 to 7% of the actual cost. So if you're looking at a $5 million project, the engineering cost is $250,000, just to get it designed to put it up to bid. You know, and then the construction portion of that too, so you.
That's the trouble, so we could get a second opinion here, look at you're spending $500,000 to it. Guesstimates, estimates, whatever you wanna call
If you go out and hire architects, engineers and do all that, you're probably looking at 7 to 10% of the cost. Honestly, that's what we normally run into at Parks and Recreation for projects was 7 to
They were
10%.
saying 6%, remember?
Yeah, John Sanders.
What was the name, what was the name of the company? I forget what it was.
John's Controls, but the, Elevatus is 6%.
Yeah, well, there is, yeah, they were 6%.
This is about 6% for theirs. So it varies between companies. Most of the time when I was with Parks and Recreation, it was 7 to 10% of the project cost to do the construction and then
Boy.
The trouble is look at our good 3 bridges, how much they want. Every time we kick this down the school road, it's just gonna cost us, yeah. It's just,
Well, we're not kicking it down,
No,
we're moving ahead,
we
we're
right.
taking bids so it's just not happening fast enough.
Yeah. To do the ADA, what they had, where it was like that 4.5, no, just say that 5 million, to do that would cost us about 250,000 to go through and have them do the design components to take it out to bid for construction and all that. And then to add the electrical on, probably looking, the electrical costs honestly are gonna be bigger than bigger. Wiring usually is more. Well, when we did projects for the parks, when I did projects for the parks, and it was just simple campgrounds on a lot of those, but the electrical cost a lot more than the water and sewers did. The wire just cost.
Warrior is crazy.
So, and I don't know if we can hide it on the wall.
Yeah.
I have no answers to that. If, you know, if you look at a lot of the new construction now, some of the houses that are conduit, some aren't. It depends on what you had them do. If it's in the conduit, it's possible
To pull through.
to pull
So the
something.
historical society can't put some money into this deal, can we,
There are grants that you can apply for from an historical for it, but I don't know if they're not, the ones that I know of aren't 7 digits, there's not $1 million grants, but I know that they have some funding sources out there, so when we get to it, we could ask for it. And Johnson Controls actually has an arm that would be able to write a grant for different things if they can find it too, so.
And then there's also a court facility grant that we could apply for again, we'd get more, but I mean, it's not a lot, but it's some.
Trouble with those grants is most of them are tied to time and you can't do anything until you get the grant. Then we're backing it up more. We should be applying now if we're gonna do some of them. Cause we ran into that a couple of times that, you know what, you don't get anything until the grant's approved and then you can, they don't let you use the money after you build.
Right. And the courtroom, there's still a cost here for that, so we had to split the 3rd floor or the 2nd floor out. And to see what the cost is just for that stuff, and break it down, which any contracting firm can easily do that to see what it was for those, it's just a square foot price change for what it was for the entire building, and take that portion out, and that's what their portion was, and that's what this portion is. So, but they were talking to the court security meeting that those funds are running nowhere and nowhere too, so.
You talk about electrical, I picked up a 50-foot roll of 12-2 yesterday with 80-some bucks. It's way up.
So, but I'll talk to John, reach out to him, I know he's on vacation this week. So I will reach out to him and.
all right, well, let's keep going. Anything else for Jason?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got quick claim deed.
I need to run to that. This cold
Yeah,
air
we'll
is.
take a 5-minute break here. Quit claim deed,
Yes. So we have this quick claim deed that I prepared. It looks like the county of Walsh had a contract for deed, many years ago. It has not been satisfied. Adrian's brother, I believe, has come in and wants to change it over to her name, or to his name, but
is that property in Grafton?
in Grafton, yeah, so I have that here, I sent all of the paperwork, in the packet as well. I did talk to Kelly Cole, she, recommended that we go ahead and sign a quick claim deed and let the Martinez's, I believe they are, handle it, transfer it then.
Okay,
I guess if Kelly okayed it, I make a motion, we sign it.
all right, we have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Not, we'll call for the vote, Chris.
Yes.
Ernie?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes,
Myself, yes. You know, Ernie?
I am not a notary, that's another question that we probably need to get a few more notaries, because I think Sherry and Yvette maybe are the only ones. And Yvette maybe.
Yeah, you got it,
Yeah.
used to be. but
Yeah,
she kept
yeah.
going.
So there's nobody in our office right now. Angie is not a notary as well, so we're gonna have to decide on who's gonna do that.
you both should,
You think so?
yeah, because if you're not in the office.
Yeah,
And, you know, I'm here, whoever, it's not, it isn't, it's great to
Not
have
hard,
more
but-
than not enough.
okay, we'll look into that.
Well, because Chris and Sandra were both notaries, I believe. I know Sandra was,
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay,
you
we'll
might
get
be
on that.
gone and.
Yep.
And, how about the treasurer's office, is any?
Sherry.
I think Sherry.
Sherry,
is the
okay,
only one.
okay.
Yes. So we'll have to have Sherry notarize that.
Okay. All right, anything else? Did we cover everything on the unfinished, just an agenda, everything?
Sharpen your budget pencils.
And that's July 17th, did we
Yep.
say 9 AM or do we remember? what
Yeah.
it was?
I think it was
This
I
I
like,
have
have
it.
nine, yep.
I have
So-
it 9 to 4:30. In
We
case.
hopefully, okay, so I am gone, for that convention, the 11th through the 13th. They've changed it, so you need to leave Monday evening, or late afternoon to be there for Tuesday morning's conference. And then I'm out Friday the 14th to register my son. So the 17th, I'm hoping I will have everything ready and to you guys before I leave on the 10th, so you guys will
well-
have a schedule.
Just a
what's going on.
schedule. I
Yeah,
don't
just
know.
the
'Cause
schedule.
I don't,
Yeah.
if you don't, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to us.
Okay, and then I know that I have to have a packet for each of you, so I'm gonna try to get as many of those done
Yep.
as I can. There's a few that said they're gonna be late from the 7th, getting it to me, but I know Angie will step up, take
Yes.
care of those and fill that in, but,
Yep.
the 17th might be a little rocky to start, but,
Yeah.
just the timing wasn't right, so, but we'll do the best we can.
Had we known that, we could have went to 18th, 19th maybe, so that you would have had a day back in the office, that's hard, but.
It'll be okay. Yeah, cause I thought we'd have all Monday, the 10th.
To prepare, yeah.
Yeah. Now they've changed it, so I'm not sure what time.
Is this,
Sherry and I
is
are-
this in Bismarck?
Mhm,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you gonna work half a day?
We have a meeting until 4 o'clock on Monday, the 10th, so we're hoping that'll get done
Oh, for
early,
what?
for Tyler.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're not sure what
sorry,
time we'll end
yeah.
up leaving.
Okay.
But our,
Mhm.
if it gets done, we'll leave. We were hoping around
Mhm.
late afternoon, so we're not driving in the dark, but
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
It's in Bismarck?
Mhm,
17th at 9 then?
yeah.
All right, anything else to be brought before the commission for the good of the county? If not, call meeting adjourned.